Senator Chloe Maxim, Norm.
Yay. Linda, anything holding us back now? Okay.
Yes, I am not able to go. Well, it says it's live now.
It does.
It does. Okay, so they must have fixed it.
Okay.
And just haven't had a chance to tell me yet. So I guess we're good to go.
Great.
Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Marine Resources Committee for May 18th. That's a Tuesday if you're really mixed up like me, because I only have one Zoom meeting going on at once. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with introductions. I'm Dave Miramont, representing Senate District 12, which is Knox County, except for the town of Washington. And my co-chair is Representative McCrate.
Good morning. I'm Jay McCrate, representing Harpswell, West Bath, and Northeast Brunswick in the House.
And we have Senator Maxman.
Hi there, I'm Chloe Maxman. I represent Senate District 13, which is all of Lincoln County except for Dresden, plus Washington and Windsor.
Thank you. Senator Rosen.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Kimberly Rosen, Senate District 8. My district goes from Castine through the city of Brewer up to Lincoln. I have 16 towns in Hancock and Penobscot County, and I live in Bucksport.
Thank you. Representative Bloom is not here yet. Representative Hepler.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Allison Hepler. I represent House District 53, which includes the towns of Aroustic, Georgetown, Pittsburgh, Woolwich, which is where I live, Dresden, and a small part of Richmond.
Thank you. Representative Crafts.
Good morning. I'm Representative Lydia Crafts from House District 90. I represent Newcastle, Damascotta, Bristol, Bremen, Monhegan and Louds Islands, and parts of Noblesboro and South Bristol.
Thank you. And Representative Alley.
Morning, Senator Miramont. Robert Alley, down Jonesport Beals area. District 138. There's 12 communities that I have down there.
Thank you. Representative McDonald.
Good morning, everyone. And since I haven't done this yet this year, let's give it a shot. I represent House District 134, which is the Cranberry Isles, Tremont, Southwest Harbor, Frenchboro, Swans Island, Idaho, Deer Isle, Stonington, Vinyl Haven, and North Haven.
Thank you. And that's it for the moment. That's all we have. But that's enough to get started. We don't have to vote on anything. So welcome, Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner. I saw someone else and someone else from the department. Welcome, Carl Wilson, Michelle Palmer. And unless the committee has any questions, we'll turn it over to you to do your presentation. And welcome, not welcome, but thank you, Linda, for troubleshooting and being there for us, and Lynn for keeping the paperwork flowing and hopefully the words in the right place. Thank you. And go ahead.
Thank you, Senator Miramont. Process-wise, we have both the amendments to the supplemental budget or part 2 of the budget that we'll go over today. But then I've got some additional information on the ARP dollars, the federal dollars. So I'll, after if it's okay with you, after we deal with the budget, and we can move over to the those federal dollars.
Excellent.
Okay. So Senator Miramont, Representative McCrate, members of the Joint Standing Committee on Marine Resources. My name is Patrick Kelleher. I'm supplying information today to you on the administration supplemental budget as it pertains to the Department of Marine Resources. Keeping in mind the administration's strong priorities around education, public health, and local communities, climate, and our economy, and making good on promises, we have over the last 2 weeks or so carefully crafted 3 proposals which come together to chart a path for robust and widespread economic recovery and growth. First, the governor's unveiled her main job and recovery plan. This administration's proposal is to invest more than $1 billion in discretionary federal relief funds allocated to Maine under the American Rescue Plan Act. That will be the second part of the presentation today in those areas of the ARP dollars that DMR will touch. The goals of these dollars are immediate economic recovery for the pandemic, long-term economic growth for Maine, and infrastructure revitalization. The plan will draw heavily on the recommendations of the Governor's Economic Recovery Committee and the state's 10-year economic development strategy. We'll also be presenting to the Committee on Appropriations a bond proposal aimed at rebuilding Maine's transportation system, which includes $100 million to maintain and upgrade Maine's transportation systems, as well as over $40 million over 40 years to conserve land and water for the Maine people through the Lands for Maine's Future program. And the LMF program, as you all know, also includes the Working Waterfront program. Most recently, the governor has unveiled her Part 2 budget for the FY 22-23 biennium. Thanks to Maine's good financial positions reflecting fiscally responsible moves by the governor and the legislature, a proposal that makes a historic investment in Maine's public schools and meets the state's obligations to pay 55% of the cost of K through 12 education for the first time in Maine history. The proposal includes a host of additional bipartisan priorities, such as initiatives to improve the health of Maine people, relief for Maine people most adversely affected by the pandemic or overburdened by rising property taxes, enhanced revenue sharing with municipalities, the PFAS remediation, which I'm sure you've all been hearing about in the press, and the infrastructure upgrades that we will touch on within our proposals as well. I'm going to go into more detail now as it relates to the Department of Marine Resources testimony. DMR's testimony addresses the items that have been added, deleted, or revised as part of the amendments of Part A to LD 221. The changes are found on pages 162 through 167 in the budget document for your later reference. Before I do, I just want to remind the committee that you have already voted on the majority of our budget as it pertains to a lot of the pieces. Those have been reported out by this committee and sent to the Appropriations Committee. And so the Appropriations Committee is still have those in front of them based on your report, and we'll continue to work on those. The new initiatives that I'm going to talk about were added as a result of this committee's input to the department back on March 17th, which seems like a lifetime ago right now. They also include a new initiative based on conversations with the governor's energy office. So I'm going to go right into the details now related to aquaculture. This is a new initiative, establishes one public service manager, one position to serve as an aquaculture administrator within the Bureau of Policy and Management, and this would be part of general fund requests. The administrator will oversee the extensive administrative functions of the program, the scheduling of hearings, manage paralegals, and ensure all legal requirements pertaining to the lease applications and administrative process are properly followed. In doing so, the administrator will provide relief to the hearings officers, which is key, allowing those staff to devote more time to their work of reviewing lease applications, conducting hearings, and drafting decisions. You'll be able to find that initiative on page Part A on page 171. The other positions that I'm going to refer to now fall under our need to have a broader breadth of working knowledge around North Atlantic right whales, as well as the offshore wind initiatives that I'm sure you're all hearing about. Two major focus areas for DMR now include the anticipated future management actions related to the protection of North Atlantic right whales, as well as the development of offshore wind in the Gulf of Maine. These issues have placed increasing demands on DMR staff time, as you're all aware. Accordingly, Another new initiative establishes one Marine Resource Scientist 3 position to support Maine's work related to the protection of North Atlantic right whales within the Bureau of Marine Science, and that would be a general fund position. The position will conduct acoustical monitoring of the Gulf of Maine to better inform our understanding of how the whales are using the Gulf of Maine, leading to more targeting and effective management actions. If you recall, many of the actions that the federal government is considering right now are very broad sweeping actions that affect the entire Gulf of Maine. And I think with additional data, we could be much more targeted. This initiative also establishes one Public Service Coordinator 2 position in recognition of the department's involvement in offshore wind development in the Gulf of Maine, and also to provide policy capacity for Maine's work related to the protections of North Atlantic right whale within the Bureau of Policy and Management. Again, this is another general fund initiative. The knowledge base related to fisheries policy and science allows us to utilize a single FTE to cover both of these areas. This initiative creates one position that will provide the necessary policy support on the endangered species issues, as these issues will come to the forefront in offshore wind in federal waters. This position will also participate in regional and state policy initiatives and be an active participant in the research collaboratives. In recognition that offshore wind will be a growing presence in the Gulf of Maine in the near future, the department has identified the need to expand our understanding of the ecosystem functions related to the siting of wind turbines and associated cables. This new initiative establishes one Marine Resource Scientist 2 position and one Marine Resource Scientist 4 position to support offshore wind research within the Bureau of Marine Science. And this again is a general fund initiative. This initiative creates 2 positions that will support research, monitoring, and assessment of Maine's marine resources and fisheries associated with Maine's proposed offshore wind research array, as well as participating in state and regional research initiatives related to offshore wind research and monitoring. While offshore wind has a tremendous potential in the Gulf of Maine, it will be critical to understand more about potential impacts associated with large-scale commercial development. This initiative will also expand baseline funding for research and monitoring associated with Maine's proposed offshore wind array in the Bureau of Policy and Management, and this will be a general fund initiative as well. This funding will provide resources to fund the research and develop the technical analysis associated with offshore wind and expand our knowledge and expand our knowledge of the interactions between our natural resources, existing commercial uses, and offshore wind development. This research is critical to ensure that the work and results of the research array and future offshore wind efforts are in the best interest of Maine people. Will serve as a critical seed funding to support the local innovation and research and development that can lead and can leverage additional resources. All of these initiatives can be found on page 171 of your document, with the exception of the Public Service Coordinator, which is also on 166 and 171. The all other portion of this, the $2 million associated with research, can be found on 171 as well. Moving on to great white sharks. This new initiative will establish one Marine Resource Scientist 2 position within the Bureau of Marine Science General Fund and as a general fund initiative to monitor the increased presence of great white sharks or white sharks in Maine's nearshore waters. This initiative has a direct link to public safety related to the growing presence of white sharks in our coastal waters. This position will focus on research, monitoring in real time, and conduct the tagging of white sharks, and as an added benefit will also support the right whale acoustic monitoring during a time of year when the focus on sharks is not necessary. That initiative can be found on page 166 of your budget document. Moving on to Marine Patrol, a new initiative reallocates the cost of one Marine Patrol officer position from 85% federal expenditure funds and 15% general to 100% general fund, and reallocates one Marine Resource officer position from 85% all other revenue to 15% general fund to 100% general fund. So in a sense, what this would be doing is funding with general fund dollars 2 vacant Marine Patrol positions. These positions will provide a full complement now of Marine Patrol officers to ensure the protection and conservation of Maine's marine resources and the safety of our public and our fishermen. The last new initiative provides funding for the reclass of 1 Marine Resource Scientist 1 position to a Marine Resource Scientist 2 position. This is an employee-initiated reorganization that's already been approved by the Bureau of Human Resources. The effective date for the reorg would be March 29th, 2021, and the initiative will also fund all of the retroactive payments. We also have several revised initiatives from our earlier budget, and I'll go through these as well, and we can come back to any of them if you need additional clarification. From page 162, it correctly transfers 19 positions to 16 positions from marine science to the Bureau of Sea Run Fisheries. So we originally had a mistake where was transferring 19. We only needed to do 16 positions. From page 163, there is a correction to the initiative to add a reduction to the federal expenditure fund allocation. From page 163 and from the top of page 164 is a correction to the initiative to reduce the federal expenditure fund allocation. And there are 3 initiatives related to the Bureau of Marine Science on page 165 and reproposed on 166 and 167. From page 167, it reorganizes 2 seasonal conservation aid positions currently that are half-time FTEs into 1 full-time position and reclasses a position to a Marine Resource Specialist 2, including retroactive pay. From page 167, there are funds that are approved for reclassification for 1 Marine Resource Scientist 3 position to a Marine Resource Scientist 4 position, and 3 Marine Resource Scientist 1 positions to Marine Resource Scientist 2 positions, and 1 conservation aid position to a Marine Resource Scientist 1 position. All of these appear on 167, but the last one appears on 173. The next program is in the Bureau of Policy and Management, and there are 2 revised initiatives in this program on page 168 and 169 to reduce the all other federal expenditures in both years of the biennial. And there is 1 initiative deleted on page 170, and then it is reproposed on 171. In the Bureau of Public Health, there is one initiative is deleted on page 172 and is replaced on 173. The only change is that the initiative description updates the title of 1 position being reclassed. And then within the Bureau of Marine Patrol on page 174, there are 2 initiatives. The first corrects the allocation and the other special revenue. This is a technical correction. And that concludes my testimony on the supplemental budget, and I'd be changes, the additions to the supplemental budget, I should say, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And just before I turn the mic back over, Senator Miramont, I just want to reiterate all of those last pieces and all of those page numbers that I just referenced. Those are really just cleanups from the original budget. I don't know how the budget office got done what they did get done, but we did find a few mistakes along the way. So those are just cleaning up those mistakes. With that,
Great.
I'll take a breath and a drink of coffee.
All right, thank you. Well, and we'll just take a break too for Representative Thorne to introduce himself. He's the only one I see who came in since we started. And Representative Thorne. Okay, very focused. Representative Thorne, you want to introduce yourself?
It's like he's a cardboard cutout.
This is good. It's like when I took Governor Baldacci down the Camden Toboggan chute during the races. I had a full-size cardboard cutout. The crowd appreciated it more than he did. Okay, so here we go. Who's next there, Commissioner?
I just have staff here to help answer any questions if we get into the weeds on anything that I might need a little backup on.
All right, so I guess we're ready. Representative Thorne, you hear me? Now I can't, you're muted.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Hey, welcome. You can introduce yourself and then we'll let the commissioner continue.
Thank you. My name is Jim Thorne. I represent District 103, which is Carmel, Herman, and Etna up in beautiful Penobscot County.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner, still yours.
So I think the only thing I would
Oh,
add.
wait, hold on one sec. Hold on. Didn't see it till now. Sorry, folks. Two questions. Representative Crafts, Representative Hepler.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner, for being here today. I just had a quick question. There's proposed legislation around banning offshore wind. And I just wonder if any of the positions would change based on proposed legislation this session, or if that research would continue.
Yeah, it would. Thank you for that question, Representative Kraft. I think it's a really good question. I think the issues that that Maine will face around offshore wind will exist even with that bill if it was to pass, because because offshore wind is regulated by BOEM, a federal entity within the Department of Interior. That will not preclude offshore wind along the coast of Maine. The only thing it may preclude if it was to pass would be the cable route coming into state waters. So no matter what, I think we have a vested interest in doing research and understanding the details of the ecosystem and what that interplay is between offshore wind and our fisheries and the people who depend on them.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Hepler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this isn't necessarily a budget question, but how easy is it or how difficult is it to tag white sharks?
Well, it depends on who you are, I think. Probably be very difficult for all of us, Representative Hepler. So it can be done in several different ways, but in most part, it is done by catching them, literally baiting them, catching them on a hook and bringing them in either on a rod and reel or through hand lines. That said, off Cape Cod, Mass DMF and their project lead down there actually use tuner boats with crow's nests and pulpits and use a harpoon-like device to tag fish in very shallow water. And if I think of it, I will send you all a video of him doing that, where a 14-foot female great white actually turned on the boat and came out of the water right up at his feet as he was about ready to put a tag into a 14-foot shark. That would have been the day I thought about just staying back in the boat instead of out on the pulpit myself. But
Good to know. Thanks.
yeah.
Okay, that's all the questions. So go ahead, Commissioner.
So the only thing I think I would add, Representative, is I know in some of the other committees, when my fellow commissioners have been talking about it, is the concerns that have been raised around headcount, and I certainly don't take those concerns lightly. As you know, we only proposed 1.5 positions in the first round. The positions that I've brought forward today reflect the conversation with this committee and the request of this committee that I carried forward to the governor. And she did agree, especially around the whale issue. And then as I mentioned, the conversations around the needs for additional wind and offshore wind research. I can tell you, we don't have the capacity to continue to do this, especially the whale work in particular, the way we have been doing it, both on the policy side and on the science side. It's taking away from other very high priority work within the agency, and we need more depth on our bench in order to be able to do this work. I had staff go back and look at headcount prior to this budget, and our FTE count was at 171 people prior to this budget. The original that changed with our original proposal to 167, and then when these new positions, that brings us up to 183.5 people. I'm not sure how we're going to feed the half a person, but we've got a half person in there somewhere. So I reflected back to when I started this job 10 years ago, when we really had to do some serious budget tightening and really go through a prioritization exercise related to zero-based budgeting. We went from, at that time, from 201 positions down to the 171 that we're at now. So we had over a 10-year period up until 2 years ago, we continued to see an erosion of positions that were unfunded that we would give up through the budget process instead of leaving a bunch of unfunded positions on the table. The only two that we did leave on the table were the 2 Marine Patrol positions, which we've addressed today based on input from this committee. So I thought you might like a little bit of that history lesson on headcount.
Thank you. Then Representative McCray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner and DMR staff. I had to step away to testify for a few minutes, so I might have missed this, but thank you for the information on headcount, because that is a concern we've had going along in various departments, aquaculture, certainly whales, wind. Are you, I don't know if this is related or not, but one of the things I hear about is this may not be a budget issue at all, so you can tell me to wait and bring it up another time. The monitoring when there's a rainfall closure and areas are closed, and people are asking me about how that monitoring is happening. Is it as fast as it could be? I understand that the system has changed somewhat. So just a general question, are we able to be as, keeping as safe as possible and getting reopened as quickly as possible?
Yeah, so I appreciate that question, Representative McCray. I wish Cole Canwit was here this morning. She's doing interviews for positions and was not able to join us. The priority is obviously public safety after a rainfall event. We see a deterioration after a large rainfall. We see a deterioration in water quality where we need to react, and it's different in different areas. Some areas have a strict 2-inch rainfall. Anything over 2 inches creates a closure, and that closure lasts for 14 days. But in other areas, there are rainfall gauges. We monitor those with both staff and volunteers. And we can be a little bit more targeted based on the level of water quality within the area. I think if I go into any more detail than that, I may be giving some misinformation, and I don't want to do that. I don't know if Meredith has anything she wants to fill in there, but I think what I would be happy to do is have Cole put a little memo together, and we can get it back out to the committee with an answer on that.
A follow up, Mr. Chair.
Of course.
Thank you, Commissioner. This does go well with what Cole and I have talked about, so I appreciate that. I think the question comes up when people have seen a change. It used to be this way and now it's that way. That's where the struggle is. But as you said, safety is number one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have more, Commissioner?
I have no more on the budget, Senator. I think I'm not sure what your intent is here today, but certainly I think a report out from this committee to AFA would be certainly much appreciated so they know whether you're in support or have concerns or questions around any particular part of our proposal.
Good, we'll do that. I also spoke to Senator Breen about it. So we're on track, but the paper trail will follow.
So no votes today then? We're gonna
I don't think we need any votes.
I think
we
you
understood that we do not need to vote. Let's clear that up now because we have enough people right now. So Lynn, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the instructions from AFA are a bit unclear. They talk about the committee providing comments or recommendations to AFA. They ask that if there's a vote, that you indicate the vote. So I think it's up to the committee whether you vote, whether you comment, whether you recommend, or do all of the above.
Then we've already discussed this. You've briefed us, so we could have a vote and I think it'd be unanimous because we've already had one that was. But Representative McCray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I would, in that light, make a motion to send a message of support on the budget as it exists to the Appropriations Committee, and to keep up the support of the department so that they can do this important work.
So I understand your motion is to send a letter of support along with the vote tally for this motion, and Representative Alley has seconded that motion. So any comment from anyone? And Representative McCray, your hand's up. I don't know if that's left. Good, thank you. Seeing no questions. Yes, Representative Thorne.
I apologize, Mr. Chair. I thought you were looking for a show of hands in support.
Oh, thank you. We'll do a roll call just for, this could be our last roll call, you know, we're so efficient.
Appear before you today. I support both of these bills.
Ready, Linda?
Yes, I am. If you are.
Thank you. Yes, we are.
Alrighty. So then starting with you, Senator Miramont.
Yes.
Representative McCray.
Yes.
Senator Maxman.
Yes.
Senator Rosen.
Yes.
Representative Alley.
Yes.
I don't believe Representative Falkingham is here, or Representative Bloom. Representative Hepler.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Crafts.
Yes.
No Representative Hutchins. No Representative Stanley. And Representative Thorne.
Yay.
So that's 9 in favor, unanimous of those present.
Great. 9 of those present, 9 in favor, 3 absent. And does that count right? Did we lose someone?
1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 absent.
4 absent. Thank you very much. Simple math. Then the motion passes. We will get the letter underway. We will note the vote that was unanimous, and we will do whatever we do with AFA, whoever our favorite members are that we talk to about supporting things that we want to pass through there. And if we have any trouble, we'll try to move it to the transportation table, and we'll make sure you get your money. No. So, all right. Thank you, Commissioner and Department, for being here. And any other comments? Representative McCray.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I just want to add to the thanks that you just mentioned on this issue, but all along the way, this first year of the session, we've had the department with us every step of the way. Sometimes we don't agree all the time, but we're always communicating well. So I appreciate that.
That is a great point. Yep, that's a great point. Because, you know, it was one of my concerns that if we always listen to a commissioner or department too much, are we doing our job? That has never happened. We are absolutely, whether it's on screen or behind the scenes, Commissioner, challenging things and getting the answers. So it may seem like that because some other committees really are like that. And that's not always great when you bring a bill and you see how set they are or how they listen to one voice. I promise you, anybody who's listening, we don't do that. We work together to benefit as many folks as we can, particularly around the challenges to lobstering right now, the whale rules and other things. So Representative Thorne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to speak for a moment of the appreciation I have for Marine Resource Committee now that I've been on Judiciary for a month or so, and we're about halfway through our bills now. And not half as problematic as what we've encountered on Marine Resource, but looking at the 2 committees, I just wanted to give accolades to yourself and Representative McCray for running a tight ship and a great committee. So Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Representative Hepler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since we're into the thank you mode, I want to thank Linda LaCroix for keeping us on task. This seems like an enormously new and evolving job, and I think you did beautifully. And I've seen you on both IF&W and this committee, so thank you.
Thank you. It's been
Yeah,
interesting.
That's very true, huh?
It's been interesting.
Especially since Linda was the clerk in the committee under the regular session, and then we lost her to the executive director's office, but she found her way back to this. I don't know what to say, but I'm really grateful too. And Lynn, that you wandered over. I don't remember what you were on before, but here you are, and grateful for all your hard work this time. And it is kind of time to say anything if you want to, because I don't know, we might need to meet for a quick language review, but I don't even see that. I don't know what else we have to meet for. This may be our last meeting. Usually we'd have a big raucous party, but we can't do that. So, but I do appreciate all of you. This committee is the best. It's been wonderful, and you're all thoughtful, and it's just been really wonderful. So thank you for all your hard work this session in really trying times.
And I'd like to say one thing. I've been with this committee and, well, both committees in land, fish and game and Department of Marine Resources, and you wouldn't find a better group of people to work with than what they are.
That's great. And Lynn?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say I am looking forward to actually meeting you all. And I ask you to, if I look stunned, it's because I may not recognize you in person. I've been trying to memorize your faces, but just, cut me some slack if I look at you like we've never met before. But I am looking forward to meeting you.
Good point. Yeah. Well, we're up for some fun coming right up in June. This will be great. We'll be home again, and it'll just be great. But I'll see everyone who's going to be there tomorrow at the Civic Center, and talk to you all soon over different things. But definitely, we'll get together at the State House.
Senator, would you like me to go over the millions of dollars that we will be touching as far as the American Recovery Plan? Would you like me to do that update as well?
I thought you changed your mind. I kept giving you opportunities to talk. What's everybody want? You want to end this meeting or listen to more of this, Commissioner?
I promise you this will be very quick, and it won't be scripted.
Okay, you got it. You talk me into
Okay.
it.
Well, first, I want to thank you very much for your bipartisan support of our budget. It really means a lot to me. I think this committee, I've been working with this committee now for a long time. Since 1995 is the first time I came in front of this committee. And it has always worked closely together across party lines, and I certainly appreciate that. And this session has been a prime example of being able to work together on many varying issues. So again, thank you. I do want to touch on the American Rescue Plan dollars. As I mentioned in the beginning of my budget presentation, the state has received just over $1 billion with a B dollars. These dollars will be used in a way that will be really, I don't even know how. I mean, when we were first presented this as a cabinet, somebody said, how come you guys aren't excited about this? And it's because I think all of the commissioners were basically caught flat-footed on these dollars and how we're going to be able to use them. And the governor said, this is historic. And I said, look at this face. I said, this face is giddy, but it was my same old, stoic face that tries to be a poker face and not really showing any excitement. But honestly, it is exciting. It's incredibly exciting. The Department of Marine Resources will have the opportunity, assuming this all goes forward in the administrative branch and the legislative branch, executive branch and the legislative branch all are in agreement at the end of the day, But as it's proposed right now, and we are building this we're building the plane as we're learning to fly it, Senator Miramont. So I think you can appreciate that. But the department will have direct contact of $26 million, right? That's a lot of money, a lot of cash, a lot of coin, and it's going to do a lot of great things. 10 million of it will go directly to support seafood processing and dealers within the state. DMR has worked with both Ag Conservation and Forestry on doing a survey of the different heritage industries, and we have received our information back on what those uses should be for these particular dollars. We're going to continue to do some work around what that looks like in the end. We've heard directly from processors in particular about the need for machineries that will help them. As you all know, the lobster industry and the dealers and processors did a fantastic job pivoting at the beginning of the pandemic. And instead of seeing all-time low boat prices, we saw all-time high boat prices. That was because they moved quickly into domestic markets, but in the process, they've realized that they need to retool much of their equipment. So these will be much needed dollars to help continue that success both on the lobster side, but as well as the seafood processing side in general, as it pertains to both groundfish as well as the needs within the aquaculture industry. So 10 million will go a long, long way within that segment of the industry. The other piece of it that is directly linked to the department is 16 million that will help offset costs associated with not only the pandemic, but as it relates to the infrastructure needs that we have and the challenges we have related to climate. The first part of this money, upwards of $6 million, would be used for infrastructure needs within the department. The 3 million of the 6 would be to build a first of its kind offshore patrol boat with a high efficiency diesel. It's directly linked to infrastructure needs that we have, but there have been no tier 4 diesels, high efficiency diesels used in lobster boats. So this would be the first of its kind in that type of on that type of platform. And it would be a 57-foot vessel that will be able to work not only in offshore area 1, but out into area 3 as well. Again, the linkage to climate change related to whales and the need to do that work offshore is highlighted. The other work here is with public health. There are equipment needs related to both paralytic shellfish poisoning or PSP or red tide. And we would be purchasing 2 new HPLC machines and the equipment to run them. We would also be looking at a new, what's called a fast real-time PCR system that deals with testing for Vibrio. Vibrio is something that is not something we can mess around with. It is seen along our coast, and it has the potential to kill people if not kept in check. We've put a lot of regulations in place around Vibrio, but this would allow us to do real-time testing within the agency. And then the next thing would be the cost of what's called a triple quad mass spec unit and equipment. Again, this is another issue around PSP or red tide. The methods that are developed here have been approved by the ISSC conference. It is something that we've been looking at for a long time, but have not had the funding. But again, it's directly all of these PSP, paralytic shellfish poisoning, diuretic shellfish poisoning, all of these biotoxins are expanding because of climate-related issues. And so this allows us to do more testing, keeping more flats open and having a direct benefit to the economics while addressing the changes we're seeing with warming waters associated with climate. And then there is a lot of infrastructure needs within the agency, a lot within Boothbay Harbor that we're going to be focused on. The expansion of a boat ramp there that is a public boat ramp that is also used for supporting all of our vessels within patrol and the Bureau of Marine Science and the Division of Aquaculture. Solarization of both Boothbay Harbor and Burnt Island Light. And then beyond that, some general issues associated with the Boothbay Harbor facility that we've not been able to address with general fund allocations to address the infrastructure problems. Beyond that leaves out of that 16 million, an additional 10 million, which we're proposing to do some additional work around both wind and whales associated with potentially covering the cost of the harvester side for both reporting and trackers associated with vessel monitoring. And then beyond that is an additional, we have identified additional $90 million worth of shovel-ready projects related to fish passage, culverts, issues around the around tidal gates along our coast. Some of these tidal gate projects are in excess of $20 million. One in down in Addison, I believe, is $40 million. What we're proposing is using 8 to 10 million of these dollars to help address some of these needs. But beyond that, the supplemental budget includes money within DEP for additional work around culverts and fish passage. And then the DOT side of this $1 billion includes nearly 500 million that addresses additional infrastructure challenges that we have that our program would fit into nicely. So there's some overlap here depending on the type of project, but the shovel-ready projects in particular, I think from an infrastructure standpoint, will have great savings for municipalities in particular. These projects would be covered in cost in full, saving municipalities a lot of money in the long run to deal with road crossing issues to ensure that we've got good connectivity between downstream and upstream habitats. So with that, it's a lot of money. This face is, I am giddy about all of this. It's an unbelievable opportunity, I think, for this agency and the state. We need to do it in a way that is obviously cognizant that this is one-time money. We must ensure that this one-time money doesn't cost us money in the future. So we need to plan very carefully. What I get very concerned personally when I see money being spent that leads to more spending down the road when we do not have those monies in hand. So we will be spending these monies very cautiously and in cooperation with the legislature. So I'll stop talking, Senator Marilyn, who's probably eating another egg sandwich.
That's exciting stuff. It really is. It's also good to hear that it could support the fish passage up rivers and stuff. We know how that's all connected, but it seems like sometimes people forget about how that's connected. Not you, but some people. Representative Bloom.
Well, I'm just so thrilled, and thank you, Commissioner Kelleher. I'm so glad you're there with all your experience and all your knowledge, and be there to absolutely know how this money should be spent is fantastic. We're so lucky that we have your guidance on that for this department. I wanted to ask you about something you said in the beginning of this section about refrigeration, onshore refrigeration for fisheries.
Yep.
Is that part of your infrastructure plan? Because that seems to be cold storage, I guess. That seems to be a big problem and has been for years.
It has been indeed. I'm trying to find my one. I get papers spread everywhere here on my desk. While you see everything from here up, it's utter chaos in front of me, actually. So the cold storage issue definitely was an item that was raised in the survey we did with industry. There is a very large new cold storage facility going in Portland right now that DOT has been working on, which is great news. But localized cold storage needs is something that we've heard a lot about, both on the fishery side and on the ag side. So I think that those issues of cold storage will definitely be part of the conversation moving forward.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a very important issue that we're lacking. And,
Yeah, thank you for that. I want to thank you for the compliment earlier too, but I can tell you that I cannot do this work without my staff.
Yeah.
So we've got great support here, and I've got a great team.
Yes. Oh, I'm just so happy. And that culvert restoration, that's the most popular program that's always been supported by bonds in the past. And now we're going to have it as going forward as a program. I understand. It's not
DOT is very excited. We'll still be doing some bonding around that. I think long-term bonding will have to be a critical component of it, but DEP is very, very vested in that and work very closely with both Inland Fisheries and Wildlife and the Department of Marine Resources.
Well, great stuff. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed the first part. Was there a vote on that, or did I miss that?
I think they voted on your behalf and you said yes. So
thank you. Okay.
You can get your vote in if you want.
All right, thank you.
And Representative Bloom, I also wanted to thank you because, as you said, we have a great department, but I think a big part of educating our fellow legislators has come from the Coastal Caucus and what you've done. And while I haven't had a lot of time for it this year, unfortunately, because I really loved running down at lunch when we were in the State House and doing that, but I've learned so much, and you have been driving that. So from all of us, thank you very much for keeping that alive.
Oh, thank you, Senator Miramont. That's really very sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really enjoy it, and I learn something new every day, every time we do it. And so I've recorded everything. So if anyone wants to see any of them, you can see them. Especially the sea level rise stuff is so interesting, and the offshore wind is very good. Lots of
Great.
facts.
Oh, good. Thank you. Where can they find those recordings of public watching too?
I sent it out to all the legislators, and I'm going to send it again with the additional programs that we're going to have going forward. So I'll send it out again.
Great. Thank you very much. And Representative Hepler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Commissioner, any chance you had, because I was trying to write some of that stuff down, any chance you have a list of the ARP stuff that you just said somewhere on the chaos that is your desk?
I have a draft of a breakdown of this information that we're still using, going back and forth, but I can put something together and get it out to the committee for sure. It also lists all of the shovel-ready projects that we're looking at as well.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Hutchins, you came in late. If you want to say hi and bye, introduce yourself, because we're kind of wrapping up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was a little bit late, but enjoying the information.
Great. Okay, there's no more hands.
Hopefully Representative Hutchins' son, who I lobbied to lobby his father, was going to be so to ensure Representative Hutchins would be all set for the budget conversations today. So hopefully that message was delivered. Young Sherm was in full support. You should want to make sure his father knew that.
I've been in contact with him several times in the last couple of days.
He's a good man.
Well, we're sending a unanimous vote of those present, which you can still vote by calling your presiding officers and just having them tell Linda what your vote was to be part. It was 9-4 with 4 people being absent, nobody against. And that's going to go in our letter to the AFA. So Lynn has a hand up. Let's find out why.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I learned the hard way with state and local that voting on the budget, if you weren't there, you don't contact the presiding officers. You can register your vote well, let me rephrase that. The conditions for voting is to be established by the committee and do not involve the presiding officers or the clerk, because this is not a bill or resolve vote. So if
good.
you would like to say, as the chairs and the committee, that those who have come on late to this meeting could register their vote now, that would be considered appropriate.
All right. Representative McCray, is that good with you?
I will admit I'm listening to two committees, so I didn't catch that all, but
It's
I
no
think-
problem. Just going to let the people who just came on late register a vote. They'll be recorded as we send out the letter. And right now that'd be Representative Bloom, Representative Hutchins, I think are the only two who I see who didn't get a vote. Would you like to?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. If you're in favor, just say so.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will say yes also.
Okay. Linda, you got that? All right. Great, everyone. All right. I don't see anything else. So have a great day, and we'll contact you by email if something comes up, but otherwise see you tomorrow, and just thank you a million times over.
Thank
Bye.
you, Betty.